adventure into Pokémon Kalevala, a fangame created by YouTuber Haukkuva Kissa, link is in the description, starts in Finland's Mustasaari, where my mother is too busy watching Temptation Island on TV and my brother is just existing to pay attention as I leave to visit my neighbor Axel. Axel and his family is quickly introduced as a family of conspirators and doomsday preppers by telling me to wear a folio hat when going outside and revealing that they sleep in a bunker under the house. Axel himself tells me that his hero in the field of conspiracy theory experts, Professor Reinhard Oak, has moved into our church village and is willing to donate Pokémon to specially sensitive children like him, his words, not mine. Axel invites me to join him in visiting Professor Oak with his dreams of becoming a true professional of the field in enslaving magical creatures like Pokémon. And when meeting him, I can see how and why Axel admires this man.
I can already remember my own youth. I remember it like it was yesterday. NASA had just framed its first moon landing and Bigfoot had been filmed on camera for the first time. When I started my journey, my eyes opened to these things. I saw another truth. How can the humanity so blindly trust that government doesn't control our actions? Was AIDS just a disease created by the US government? How come the picture showing the moon surface doesn't show the shadow of the American flag? Do birds exist? Do we exist? The NPC is questioning his own existence. I'm just asking questions.
Then when it comes to choosing one of the 3 crab Pokémon available, Professor Oak decides to give me one last vetting process in seeing if I'm a true believer like Axel. I get the first 2 questions about alien life and on Elvis still being alive right, but then get Pentagon mixed up with Area 51, which causes Professor Oak to deny me getting a Pokémon at all. Axel then gets to choose his Pokémon while I'm just told to go look at the sea and try to imagine what the world would look like if it was round. At the shore, I join an old man also looking at the horizon, claiming to see smoke rising in the distance and sensing it as a bad omen similar to the recent scourges like the global warming and the era of COVID, meaning that Finland might be too weak if attacked right now. Speaking of the devils, at that moment we are both ambushed by the 2 members of an evil team, who name the old man as a banker Björn Valrus, who in turn names the evil team as Team Kesko, or K-Mafia. Björn claims that he could wipe the floor with both of them, but decides to give me a chance at them by letting me choose from the 3 Pokémon that his butler caught on the Svenska Klubbens high society trip to Copenhagen. Trico, I choose you, and your name from now on will be Kurt Khan. K-Mafia clerk Esko confesses to have beaten up children before, so I have Kurt Khan beat up his widow, after which Björn promises to let me keep the Pokémon if I use it to go kick their teammates out of the Grönevik's mansion they are occupying. Turns out I almost didn't even need to bother, because their rival team, S-Mafia, is already doing that. Their main leader sends his female rival to run away and then is about to take his turn on me, but then he gets a phone call telling him to get to Lappajärvi as soon as possible, and is so too busy to fight me with my starter Pokémon. Björn arrives not soon after everyone has left and begins to lore dump what will be pushing me to start my journey. The S and K Mafias are made up from the 2 rivaling trade industry chains of the divided Pokemarts, with the former being led by Jyrki Sukula in the spirit of Gordon Ramsay, and the latter by Nora Fagerström after she was kicked out of her government position for being a rich entrepreneur. Or so Björn tells me. The potential threat of what they might be doing feels threatening enough that Björn enlists me to travel across the land and search far and wide for the 8 professionals of the field who should be powerful enough to stand up against the S and K Mafia. The closest one of them is at Tampere, to which I need to go through Seinäjoki, and on the way I catch a hoot for myself and have a fight against Axel and
Hoho, Ulla Suprai. Ah! Exhibition, what do you call those people? And of course as a metaphor that probably only uses. Yeah, uses Harden. Close your eyes and count to 10. No!
By the time I reach Seinäjoki, the tango markets are going in a full swing with Lauri Tähkä appearing on the stage. Unfortunately, because the Pokémon centers have been replaced with bars in this game, getting refreshed while restoring my Pokémon back to full health forced me to run back and forth between the bar and the stage, needing to have a Pokémon battle with Lauri, and in Seinäjoki, that is an offense that earns me a trip to the local jail.
In the southern Northernland, disturbing the audience event is a offense worthy of hanging. Oh. Aha, of course not. But think about what you did for a while in jail. Pate Mustajärvi.
Luckily Lauri was such a good sport about our Pokemon battle that he didn't even charge me, with an also appearing artist Pate Mustajärvi having liked watching our fight in seeing my Finnish identity shining out of me that much that he arrives to pay my bail to get me out of jail. Pate also tells me that Björn had called him up ahead to give me a fake ID to pass as a fully legal adult while looking for the professionals of the field, as well as that to become one of them, I should first go to Lappajärvi after the S-Mafia. I unfortunately, or fortunately, end up missing them by running into
Pekka Pouta,
the weatherman on the way there, and end up battling his very strong cast forms.
Light, higher cloud.
At the location itself, I hear that the S-Mafia looked for something in the caves, which is now filled with folio hat wearing nut jobs like Axel and Axel, trying to make sense of the cave markings, believing them to be alien in origin. Björn arrives, and as older and wiser expert is able to recognize the cave markings to be from the Age of Kalevala, as well as being able to read them out for me and Axel. Old and steady Väinämöinen, sage eternal. He was born when the world was born, and is the hero of this tale. Väinämöinen promised to Louhi, the witch of the north few teeth, endless wealth-producing magical tool Sampo. Sampo was meant to bring happiness to both the people of Kalevala, as well as the people of the north, but Sampo, forced by his brother Seppo Ilmarinen, was locked into the depths of north, and Louhi refused to share its riches to the people of Kalevala. Väinämöinen along with his fellows set out to steal Sampo back. On the way he built a kantele from the jawbone of a giant salmon. The instrument then became the sage's dearest treasure. He channeled all his powers into it. The brave men captured Sampo and escaped, but Louhi stopped their group with her spells and started a great battle at sea. At the end of the battle, Väinämöinen's kantele fell to the sea, and Sampo was broken into pieces. At the end of the epic, Väinämöinen sails away from Kalevala, but swearing to return to the land of Kalevala. That is the rough recap of the Epic of Kalevala that Björn is able to read to me and Axel, who walks away calling the tale more unbelievable than global warming. Björn, however, believes it to have some truths, as folk tales have always started from somewhere, and decides to stay researching the cave markings for longer, while telling me to go find a professional of the field from Tampere. To get there, Björn gives me his old pickaxe to break the road-blocking rocks on the way there, and I catch myself a rolly-collie to have a fire type in my team. Later, when I'm on my way to Tampere and have fought baseball players and kleptomaniacs.
And with a baseball bat. Ismo Laitala catchphrase, ja vielä pesäpallo mailalla.
I come across a road separating an S-Mart and a K-Mart, with their clerks yelling at each other from their sides.
Keep your branches on the other side of the road. If from your neighbor envy you even think about messing with our business, there's gonna be hell to pay. This side of the road belongs to Kesko. If even one of Euroshopper banana is lost here from your blue moomin house, it's going to burn to cinders.
While still providing me proper customer service when going to buy new items for myself, aka Pokeballs and beer. Closer to Tampere, I find the residence of YouTuber Niilo22, whom I barely know by reputation in real life, and who is so sick of all the Pikachus marketed as Bengal tigers sent to him that he ends up giving me one of them.
I got a Pokemon from cover image adventuring random rat hated by everyone, including the fan base that is debating if Pikachu actually is a rat. Keep the flag high and mast slippery.
Finally, when I arrive to Tampere, I need to battle the bouncer at the local bar to get in and have barkeep Joy heal up my Pokemon. She also gives me jallua as Pate notices my arrival. Pate promises to point me to the local professional if I can complete 3 traditional Finnish deeds in this bar, aka buy hard alcohol as I already have, get into a fight by not knowing enough about hockey teams.
Okei, tapparaten. What the hell? Oh, you gonna talk to me, huh? Fight like a man. Suomi Jorma Vesa. I don't know how to translate that taito. Jolteon.
And get thrown out of the bar by the bouncer. After completing those tasks, Pate reveals himself to be the professional of Tampere and says that he will meet me in the Särkänniemi Former Delvinario to test out my potential in a Pokemon battle. My recently evolved Kurt Kon is strong enough to battle Pate Smightyena, while it takes a tough team effort of my Tigeri and Rocky to defeat the Ukkometso. Pate is pleased with the battle and gives me a badge representing the city of Tampere, as we witness my Rocky also evolving into Karkol.
Oho, Rocky is evolving. Karkol.
Before I leave, he directs me to head towards Jyväskylä for the next professional, and is already at the bar when I go there to restore my Pokemon to full health. I think I'll sit down here in his company for a while before continuing my journey. So until I move on from here, feel free to do the usual things done at this point of the video. Suomen mielellä, kaikki huutaa lailla perkeleen. Kun Suomi pelaa lätkää, se iskee joka jätkää.